and you don't need to know what's going on in the guts. If you're interested, I'll show it to you guys. That's a different story. But I don't want to have to kind of have it over your head. All you need to know is how to define the problem. Because mathematics is not about doing a lot of hard work to get answers. Mathematics is about getting the answer. And math is the art of reducing a problem into things you know how to do. I'm going to teach you basically the things you will know how to do is to be able to code the left hand side of an equation into Excel. That's all you need to know. The rest, Excel is going to do the algebra for you. Again, this is not anything you could not do using what if goal seek. This is just a user friendly version of doing a goal seek. That actually works like this. Data, what if analysis, goal seek. Well, I want to set this cell, which is the difference, to value 0 by changing what's in this cell, in this case, this. Obviously, I have the wrong thing over there because I set it up for a different problem. Every time you need to solve a problem, you're going to have to go through the motions of those. Not anymore. Every time I change one of those values, it's going to be done automatically. You know, Oops. Let's see. Oh, because I changed this one. Not X. This. Well, let me change it. Not Y. I could actually do it that way too, but I'm not going to. And let's make it a cube. Okay. Let's start it from a better place. Done. Okay. If I decide to make that 0, done. There's actually a lot of calculations in the background of that, but Excel is pretty quick and I set this up very efficient. That's why you don't see it. But if this was a more complicated problem where in order this sheet was just the interface for calculations that are 25 sheets deep, that would have taken some time, but it would solve it for you. This is what's called, this is not AI, but in AI or machine learning environment, this is called a low code environment. Okay. The user does not need to do a lot of coding. The only thing user in this case needs to do, how to write the Excel formula for that. Even I could change that. I could use the names of these. For example, I could write a function like this. X that doesn't mean anything to Excel, but I actually have a function that's even available, I think, with this that converts that into Excel formulas. I didn't do it for this purpose because I want you to practice entering Excel formulas directly. That's just a symbolic way of writing the problem. Even that we can do. In fact, for some other stuff I'm doing, this is going to be something, it's going to be definitely operational for the spring semester. I may even test some of it on my Business 302 later on. Let's see. Okay. Here we have, I can write formulas based on randomly generated inputs where the instructor says, okay, R is going to be between 1 and 15 as a percent. Dollar C is going to be between 1 and 15, but multiples of 100, whatever. It's their business. And they're going to write a question that's going to involve those inputs, combination of text and other stuff. And right now, this is just R, right? I have this little button. It converted that R formula into a number. When I change these numbers, that also changes. But I can always go back to just symbols. When you're writing the question, it's a lot easier to write it with symbols, but you also want to see how it's going to look to students. The students are not going to see any of that. They're just going to see if interest rate is and first payment is this, what's the answer? So I could actually do formulas like that. I'm just choosing not to do. And it's, very neat stuff. All right. Let's stop here. On Since there's a variety of majors here on one of the Wednesday and next week as well, I'm gonna go over technically Excel skills, but in the context of things like time value of the money, present value, future value. Since we're gonna do a lot of valuations, we're gonna talk about net present value, payback period, and that sort of other stuff. Basic capital budgeting. But we'll do that all in the context of Excel. Let me actually show you. It was here in this spreadsheet. I have templates for a lot of different stuff. Some of my former students even didn't see this version yet. You just enter the inputs for cash flows, your discount rate and other stuff, everything's calculated for you. Because I'm not interested your ability to make those calculations. And plus, in the business world, nobody is interested in that. What they want to know is what do you do with that number? Okay. But some of the basic Excel skills, for example, I want to highlight the year in which I have positive cash flow. Let's say COSO project is $15,000. Okay, let's make it 22.5. You see that pink cell shifted down? It's not the cell that shifted down, it's the coloring that shifted down because I do something called conditional formatting. And I say, find a cell such that running cash flow is positive and the one before that was negative. It's not complicated. I'll show you how to do it. This way, yes, I can calculate, and then based on that, you can calculate the payback period. But you use things like Excel sheets as telling stories, okay? Communicating things. I don't have to tell him anything about that. I said, see, we get paid back in year 5. Why? Because it's pink. People relate to that sort of stuff, okay? 4.9, it doesn't mean much to them. This basically says, I'm going to be paid in year 5. In fact, I'm going to finish year 5 with $500 in the positive. They relate to that. Green traffic lights, they mean according to the rules, MPV rule, I have the green light to go with the project. According to discounted payback period, I don't. What have you, okay? Again, this all does it for you. All you need to know is what goes where. if I'm able to teach you that, or you already know that, that's all I need. Who cares if you can actually make the modified IRR calculation by itself? It's not complicated, but why? It's not civilized. This does it for you. Modified IRR calculation comes in when some of the cash flows can be negative. For example, on year 14, as you can see, they're not the same anymore. What happens is when cash flows are non-conventional like that, the equation that defines IRR has multiple solutions, which means IRR doesn't mean anything by itself. Which one is the internal one? Do I call the other one external? No. But modified internal rate of return basically modifies the problem into another one that has a unique solution. And this does all of that for you. All you need to know is what to do with it. You're the end user. Even as the CFO, you don't need to know that. Even as the first year guy, you don't have to have very big technical understanding of how those calculations are made. Who cares?